Hello, and this is Lucy05 and welcome to the Kumukuma Sancho toy review. And today's toy review, we're looking at the 2010 release by Hasbro of the Marvel Universe action figure review. And today's action figure review, we're looking at series number 2, action figure number 7, the Extremis Armor Iron Man. Now, I got this straight from the Isetan toy department store for 39 ringgit and 90 cents. And well, lucky me, this is the only one left in that toy department store. Now, let's take a look at the front part of the packaging, which is kind of weird. Front part of the packaging is stated as Iron Man. Now, it didn't say anything that this Iron Man suit is an Extremis armor. And that is until you flip over and read the bio, which stated the word Extremis there. Well, still alright. I can guess why they don't actually label it as Extremis armor, considering that there's not a lot of space there. Now, top part of the packaging, you got the nice little artwork of Iron Man in the Extremis armor. Here you got the hammer logo, and the packaging here you got the figure itself. Next to the figure you got the clip-on repulsor blast, which I really don't like the clip-on repulsor blast. I prefer what being sold in the Iron Man 2 action figures, the 4-inch line, the snap-on repulsor blast, especially on the comic series. Hiding behind the figure itself you got the base stand, and here you got the top secret file card that stated here includes classified file with secret code, which by the time you got this figure they already discontinued with the secret codes. Now, on the back of the packaging you got a nice little image of the Extremis Armor Iron Man, which his crotch is being covered by the price tag itself. At the bottom you got the bio. This section here you got the rest of the toy lineup. You got the Captain America, the classic Captain America, Luke Cage, Bucky, and at the bottom, you got Norman Osborn saying, become agent of Hammer at FuryFiles.com. So, without further ado, let's open up this packaging so I can molest the toy. Be right back. And we're back after removing the figure and the rest of the stuff out from packaging. Now, in the packaging, it comes with a top secret file card that comes along with this small piece of paper with the codes for you to enter at www.furyfiles.com. The codes is not usable anymore. Next, we have an email from Victoria Hand to Norman Osborn talking about how Tony Stark managed to get the Extremis virus to work on him and granting him even healing factor. So they trying to figure out how the Skrulls managed to use this networking capability to attack him, so they can develop a functioning version of the Skrull virus soon to use it against Tony Stark. Very interesting. Next we have this card. You've got Tony Stark down with the Extremis armor going on, and at the back here the Superhuman Registration Act. You've got the picture of the Extremis armor going on, the thumbprint. Real name Anthony Edward Tony Stark, codename Iron Man, hair black, eyes blue, height 6'6" in armor, weight 425 pounds in armor, sex male. Powers: because of the Extremis virus, Stark is able to store inner layers of armor into his body, heightened reaction speed, healing factor, and augmented strength, genius level intellect. At the bottom, it reads enhanced human, and you got a nice little hammer logo there. And that's about it. Now, let's take a look at the accessories. You have the base stand, and this base stand comes with 2 pegs for you to fit on the bottom part of the feet itself. There's 2 holes there for the figure to stand on. Here you got a nice little embedded words of Marvel. Here you got the imprinted word of Iron Man. Here 007 imprinted onto the base stand itself. Back there it just says made in China, made by Hasbro in 2009. Here you have the clip-on repulsor blast. I really don't like this because seriously, I don't like anything that has a clip-on, especially when you have a figure that is already painted, this kind of metallic paint job. So every time you try to clip it on, you may end up, well, damaging the paint. I'll put this on one side. Let's take a look at the figure itself. Now, the figure's paint job is absolutely very gorgeous. It's metallic, it's very shiny. The gold part is not as shiny, not as metallic as the red paint job, but it works very well. The eyes is nicely painted as well. It's more towards white rather than blue, and all the linings throughout the body is very well done, making this figure very well detailed in paint job. Even the arc reactor in the middle here is also nicely painted. There's no paint smudge, which is a good thing. Bottom part of the thruster, however, looks very flat. It doesn't look very nicely done compared to the Iron Man 2 figures. But the majority of the paint job is very nicely done. Now let's take a look at the sculpt. The sculpt, however, looks very gorgeous. You got this very sleek design of the Iron Man suit. However, this is only on the top part. It looks very sleek, very humanoid. It doesn't look like he's a man wearing an armor, but rather the armor has become part of him. However, when you look down to the figure itself, he has humongous thighs. I really wish the thighs itself is not as big as shown here, but what can you get? Sculpt is very well done. All the details are there, all the linings. There's no spinal sculpt being shown at the back of the figure itself, but it's still alright. And yeah, at the palm there, you got the repulsor. So that's on the other side. Even it's an enclosed fist. It's very nicely done. You can still see the repulsor palm there. But the paint job on the repulsor palm is the same kind of paint job as shown at the bottom of the thrusters. Very nicely done. The head sculpt is also very nicely detailed. Very sleek. It's like looking at a Ferrari or a Porsche. That's kind of my description there. Very nicely done. Now let's take a look at the articulation. Now the head actually is quite interesting. It's on a hinge. If you notice, there's a hinge there, and you can pivot the head all the way up. So Iron Man here can actually fly like that. Very nicely done. Also, at the neck there, at the top part of the neck itself, you can turn the head 360 degrees and maybe move side to side a little bit. Very nicely done. Bottom part of the neck itself, there's a swivel neck joint. So I'm not too sure why they even bothered adding that, but it actually can swivel 360 degrees. However, my version here is a bit tight. Then you got the shoulder pads. The shoulder pad is attached to the shoulder itself. It can actually go down and up, not hindering the articulation at all. Very nicely done. And you can raise the shoulders all the way like so. Turn the shoulders 360 degrees. Upper bicep can turn 360 degrees. Elbow joint bend this far and a bit backwards. Wrist joint can turn 360 degrees. Very nicely done. Torso, however, is actually can turn 360 degrees and go at the back like so, or forward a little bit. Now the hip joint is something I really don't like, because due to the size of his thighs, it's a bit too big and a bit too tight. So whenever I try to turn the thigh itself, it also has this kind of weird angular position this way. So the thighs is actually twisting, well, something like this. Can't bend to the back, but can bend to the front, and can spread the legs this far. There's a swivel thigh joint, this section here. So you can actually swivel, but not 360 degrees. It swivels to the side like so, and to the front like so, and that's about it. Double jointed knee, but it bends this far. And then there's the ankle joint that can pivot downwards a little bit, upwards, and possibly turn 360 degrees. Very nicely done. The figure is actually quite amazing. I really love the paint job. I really love the neck articulation. The shoulder articulation is really great as well. So does the torso, but I really don't like the thigh joints. Hip and the thigh joint is something I really don't like. It's a bit weird, especially on the swivel thigh, and this figure actually has an oversized thigh there. But overall, the figure is absolutely amazing. So if I want to give a rating on this figure, I'll say I'll give it a 9 out of 10. So I thank you all for watching. This is Lucy05, and I'm signing off.